Everybody, it's Tony George from DocSports.com, along with my good buddy and USC quarterback Sean Salisbury, sporting the USC stuff today. And we're talking football season win totals, and we're talking AFC East and the Miami Dolphins, which is a little intriguing here with a total. Sean, this shocked me. 9.5 in this division. 9.5 on season win totals, over plus 105, under minus 130. Do odds makers know something I don't know? Is this going to be a 10 or 11 win team this year with Tua at quarterback? I mean, they just signed Jacoby Brissett as a backup for $7.5 million on a one-year contract. That kind of displays to me the confidence level in Tua might not be as high as what you might expect, especially with the expectations of 9.5 wins.
Well, if they don't get what they want out of Tua, they will also be in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. With all that ends and he's playing somewhere else. Now, Tony, I'm sitting here looking at this thinking, okay, 9.5 wins. And I don't always like it to be the burden of the quarterback, the pub and the bad part. But in truth, Tony, really? And I could say what we said about Prescott. If a guy sort of doesn't play well, it's really hard in this day and age of football. If that cat under center is just a guy, you don't win much. If that guy is that guy, then you that's the difference in 2 or 3 extra wins in games that are close. You know what? I looked at totals for a lot of the teams, Tony, which I know you study all the time as well. This is one of the hardest ones for me to pick in the entire league because I know New England's going to be better. I just know they are getting all their guys back from COVID. Buffalo's the team of the division, and they are a Super Bowl threat to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC, no question. Now, Zach Wilson, Jets may not be very good, but they're going to be kind of fun to watch. I want to see Zach run around and give me some Mahomes stuff. So they're one of those, if you sleep on him, Zach Wilson throws for 320, rushes for 80, and you find yourself getting beat by him, right? So there's that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, I love what Brian Flores has done. Defensively, they'll continue to step up. They've got pretty good personnel. And then you say, okay, you drafted Tua, what was it, 5th in the draft, right? And Herbert was 6th. And you didn't go and try to trade this offseason or get somebody. I'm so, if you'd have said 10, I'd have probably said, oh man, that seems high. But at 9.5, I know it's a half game. I'm thinking, can they get to 10 in the AFC East? Can Tua just play 80% of the way he was at Alabama? Tony, this one, and before I pick it, I'll get your insight too, and what you think from not only a betting standpoint, but as a fan standpoint. I like to consider myself, have a pretty good expertise about the position. He started 9 games last year. People were, and I said, slow down, man. If you want to go by 9 games and Peyton Manning, Brett Favre in Atlanta, when he went to Green Bay, he's backing up Mikowski. Look at Baker Mayfield's second year, not his rookie year. John Elway was getting booed at times as a rookie. I mean, we go on and on, right? And then these guys that will overcome it. And I look at this and I'm thinking, okay, it's not fair to judge him at 9 games. I know he's a really good player, a really good college player, but where is he? Where's his confidence? I know he's accurate. He's a little bit physically restricted. And I think I know the position, Tony, but I'm telling you, after 9 games, I don't know where I am on the Miami Dolphins yet. I really do. This is the hardest one of 32 teams for me to pick. 9.5 wins. Part of me says, gosh, they got to be the second best team in the division. And I said, well, Belichick's in the division, and they're going to have a better season. So I guess Tua's development, we'll see how much they believe in it. You're right, $7.5 million for a backup's a lot of money. That's what they're paying him now, the good ones these days, and Jacoby Brissett. My gut says under 9-8, but not under by a lot, Tony. I don't think they're a sub-500 team. I don't. And I think I got a chance to be wrong here, and I'll make my final choice here in a few minutes. I got a chance to be wrong. If Tua plays like the 5th pick of the draft, and remember, Josh Allen had a rookie year come, they would have said, oh, Josh Allen's a bust after 9 games, right? Now look at him. He's an MVP guy making $43 million a year. He's not as gifted as that guy, obviously. Tony, I think if Tua plays well, if Tua's in the lineup for 17 games, I'm going to be wrong taking the under. The question is, will he be? And that's what I'm looking at. I'm leaning under on this.
Yeah, I'm going to go full-fledged under. No, and I'll tell you why. First of all, the schedule. Second of all, they were the
That part's
least
brutal.
efficient.
Yep.
They were the least efficient running team in the NFL last year. Their top running back, Myles Gaskin, had 584 yards. And they rely on Tua to run the ball a bit, which possibly could get him banged up. But all last year, when I watched the Dolphins and I watched every game, I never had an oh wow moment with him.
Right.
It was always
Right.
just kind of
Hasn't hit.
pedestrian, making bad decisions.
Serviceable. Right.
Yeah. And when they would pull him in the third quarter and Ryan Fitzpatrick would come in and win the game for him. Then they'd start him the next week. And I like Brian Flores. I think he's a great football coach. They got to 10 wins last year with kind of a hodgepodge at quarterback. And as you know, playing quarterback in the NFL, that usually that's not a recipe for success when you got the two-headed quarterback monster going on any team from a chemistry standpoint, from just a flow standpoint. And I'll tell you what right now, Sean, they were 22nd on offense and 20th in defense last year, slightly past middle of the pack. And to stick 9.5 wins on them, they open up at New England. Now, I want to talk about New England real quick. We saw them play last night against the Washington Redskins and Matt Jones. I watched that game, Sean, and it was preseason, but in one preseason game when I watched him play, I had 2 or 3 oh wow moments with Matt Jones.
Accurate.
I had zero with Tua last year, Sean.
Right. He's going to start this year at some point, Tony. He is.
Yeah.
And listen, I know what Cam is. Cam's an explosive talent that sometimes he'll go 22 or 25 and you'll say, damn, this guy's a monster. And then the next week he'll miss 4 throws in the flat and you're like, what the hell's going on? Mac Jones won't do that. He makes throws open. And then the injury history. I'm actually pulling for Cam to kick ass. Just like Tony, I'm one of those, I root for success. I want these guys to do well. I just can't imagine, in considering what Josh McDaniels likes to do, that he's going to be able to stave off Mac Jones the entire year. And you know that Nick Saban told Bill Belichick, as their buddies, say, hey, dude, get my guy. He can play. Yeah. So I'm with you. And he does. He has some wow moments. He had a bunch of wow moments in college, too. And he's really, the truth is, he's probably a better pro prospect than Tua was, even though Tua was drafted higher. I'm not sure if Mac Jones isn't the better player right now. Tua is such a good dude. How can you not root for him? But Tony, I'm with you, man. Schedule, positions, going back. The truth is, to win as many games they did last year with their offense and defense where it was ranked was a bit shocking. Schedule gets tougher. I'm with you. I'm leaning towards it now. Like I said, if Tua plays 17 games, I may be wrong here because that may mean he's playing well. But I'm going to take the under as well. Probably, I think they're probably a 9-8 team and have to win a couple games in a row down the stretch to get there.
Okay, so we got at New England. Then you come home and play Buffalo the next week. That could potentially be 0-2. Then you go on the road out here to Vegas to play the Raiders, which are not going to be an easy out.
Cross country.
You're going to have to play a game in the heat. Out here it's going to be 100 degrees out here, and plus the Raiders are the Raiders, and they've got talent. You're going to have to put up, 28 to beat them. And then they got to play Indy, who, if they could be good if they have Wentz back. Then, and then they play Tampa Bay, and then they get to go play Jacksonville in London. And then, Sean, their final 3 games of the season at New Orleans on Monday Night Football. Good luck. At Tennessee the following week. Good luck. And they finished at home against the Patriots. They very well could go 1-2 or 0-3 in those final 3 games. And that's what makes that hook on the 9 being 9.5 so appealing to go under on it. Because I think that, and maybe Tua has a sensational year, but from what I've seen, I can only take under with you as well.
And if Tua plays average, Tony, that's going to be a 6-win team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why, and you don't want to put it to the point where you're trying to get above 500 with that final 3 games. That's why I said they're going to need to win a couple of them probably to get to 9 wins. That's a friggin' brutal schedule Now we're going to find out what kind of balls the team has. That when you know the
Yeah.
schedule like that, do you come out and play with confidence, or do you come out treading lightly because the other teams are supposed to beat you? I know how Flores is. We're going to find out if Tua can match that with some of the physical skills and see if he can elevate his play. Because right now, I think he's one of the question marks in the league right now that we don't know enough about. But you're looking for the wow factor that you didn't get last year, Tony.
He's surrounded by talent in the receiving core. They got Devontae Parker coming back. They got Will Fuller in free agency. They got Waddle, his teammate at Alabama. They went and drafted him. They got Gesicki. He's a great tight end. So they got a lot of good components around him. If he could utilize them, possibly get to 10 wins. I don't know if he can or not. I'm going to go under with Sean. He's Sean Salisbury. Find him at iHeartRadio, The Sean Salisbury Show, on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered, and with us every single week. And we'll be getting out, least we not forget, when we stopped giving out free plays here about 3 weeks ago, Sean had a little bit of a family situation he had to take care of, took a little hiatus. You were 17-5, my friend. So we're going to get back to the free picks next week as well as baseball's winding down. And by the way, just quickly, how about that Field of Dreams thing last night, Sean? Was that unbelievable in Major League Baseball?
Tony, thank you. And thank you. Yeah, first of all, thank you for all the support from you and Doug and everybody at Docs about my mom when I lost my mom and was going through that. I sure appreciate you and thank you for that. And I'm gonna miss her. She was a great lady and I'll keep winning games just to let her know because she's was living in Vegas when it happened. So let's roll, brother. Right. I thought it was spectacular, Tony. You probably saw my tweet. Two things I said last night. One is we need to do this every year, like the Winter Classic when it started, the Winter Classic. And I know they're doing it next year, and it was phenomenal. And I was actually moved by it. I was actually had the chills at times last night. And not just because the baseball and the visual, but the thought about the other part. I said, man, what I wouldn't give for one more chance to play catch with my dad, who passed away in 2007. Because I remember the days of just not talking and playing catch with my pops, right? So I missed both of them hit me last night. I thought it was a phenomenal event. And then what a great ball game to watch, right?
Yeah.
So it was a great Thursday night and one that maybe you wouldn't have watched a normal game if it wasn't your team playing in it. Neither one of those are my teams, and yet I couldn't take my eyes off the television. It was a phenomenal job, great production, and what a great side by side with the movie and Costner and knowing what they both meant. I loved it, man. I thought it was great.
Yeah, and I kind of took me back home. I grew up in a small town in Nebraska and played a lot of junior Legion baseball. And you don't know, and Wymore and Pawnee City and Auburn and all these towns I grew up in, how many cornfields were in the background of some of those junior Legion fields down there in rural southeastern Nebraska. So nonetheless, check out Sean. He mentioned Twitter. Check him out at Sean Unfiltered. Come over to Docs, get a free $60. Link in the description below. Get hooked up this football season. Sean and I'll be back 2 or 3 times next week, so be sure and tune in.